What's up, beautiful people? This is Anshul and Alex from Orange County Performance back with another video, and today
we're going over the deadlift in all its entirety, covering technique, covering pain points, and to get you to do this movement pain-free and to the best of your ability.
we're going to show you today how to take the risk out of the movement so that we get a high reward and a lower risk. We're going to put some controls in place in the form of exercise prescription and teach you the correct way to learn the patterning of this movement. At first, you're going to have to consciously think about bracing and hinging back when we pick up things off the floor or deadlift. But if you do this movement enough times with the correct patterning, you can then increase the intensity without thinking.
The deadlift is an activity of daily life, or an ADL, and it's also a functional movement that we are required to use for pretty much everything we do to pick things up off the ground. So a lot of times we deal with pain points, and if things hurt, we need to first figure out how to get out of that pain. A lot of people call this a high risk, high reward because the chance of pain is way up there, but also what we get out of the deadlift is just as important. The most important thing when it comes to lifting heavy weight is we want to generally get the body warm. And one easy way to do that is hopping on a bike, rower, ski. Anshul's hopping on a bike here, and he's going to be just focusing on building his heart rate up as high as he can in about 2-ish minutes, just to get some more blood flow and get his body primed, ready to move some weight.
So now we're getting into a cat-cow as part of our warm-up. So Alex is going to do a cat where he's flexing that thoracic spine and shoving his pelvis forward. And then he's gonna get into the cow where he rounds the back, throws the butt up to the ceiling, tucks the chin all the way up. Let's tuck that chin all the way up. And then we're coming right back into the cat. It's like a really slow twerk.
What the fuck? Then we'll work our way into a DNS start. Focus here is we're trying to create a lot of stability in the core. The way we do that is we're trying to also prevent anti-rotation by extending the leg back and also extending his arm forward. How this helps with the deadlift is, notice on this leg, he's going through that hinging pattern, trying to squeeze his butt forward on the way up and then push his butt back on the way down.
We're now getting into a complex closed chain movement, single arm kettlebell swing. Alex is gonna get into a hinge at the bottom of it and absorb the force of the kettlebell going back, and then fling his arms off of his hip to generate that power. Another thing, we don't want any unwanted rotation of the spine. The weight is gonna wanna drag him to the left. He's gonna control that movement and keep that spine nice and stable. A lot of people when they deadlift push off one leg more than the other. If you are feeling one of these sides is harder than the other, perform 5 extra reps on that side to get a nice and balanced deadlift. The last part of our warm-up is a dynamic elephant walk where Alex is reaching down to touch his toes and separately driving each heel into the floor as hard as he can while he contracts his quad to get the hamstring to relax and provide more range of motion.
So when it comes to the deadlift, we want to follow a certain pattern of movement, and the way we can do that is 2 different ways. One way is with the PVC pipe, and the way we do that is we take the PVC pipe, place it along the middle of our back. We want the PVC pipe touching our butt, our upper back, and then the back of our head. While we move down, we want to make sure we keep those 3 points intact the whole way down. The second that we lose one of those points, reset and slow it down a little bit more until you're able to do the pattern the way we want to.
The second modality is a foam roller. What we're gonna do here is place our wrists right on the foam roller itself and start it right on the hip. So Alex is gonna get those wrists right there, starting points right on that hip line, and he's gonna drive his hip back, 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 while rolling his wrists and his forearms down the foam roller. Here we want to feel a nice stretch and engagement in our hamstrings. And if we want a little bit more glutes, we can go a little bit bigger on the bend of the knee to get a little bit more range of motion, and then we're coming right back up top. The key to this movement is to feel the glutes and the hamstring engage while keeping that core nice and braced and keep the spine nice and neutral. Now we're getting into some actual deadlifts. Alex is gonna go with a switch grip. He's gonna hinge about the hips. He's gonna keep a nice tripod on his feet in terms of weight distribution. A couple pain points that we want to address are the lower back,
the adductors, and the hip flexors.
Getting into the lower back, what's a way that you can deadlift to start without your lower back flaring up? We can decrease the range of the movement. So we're gonna elevate the deadlift a little bit off the floor and pull from there. And the other way we can fix that lower back pain during this movement is to increase and enhance core stability. So let's get into that.
One way that we can work on core stability or increase our core stability is where we take our hands, we're gonna find the space between the top of our pelvis and underneath our last rib. It's gonna be that meaty part. You're gonna push your hands in as far as you can, and then the goal is you're gonna try to use your breath to push your hands away from each other. So that's one way that we can increase core stability. Another simple, quick fix that we can do is we can just grab a weightlifting belt, and a weightlifting belt will do that same kind of thing that his hands are doing to his sides, but it'll be all the way around his body.
The weightlifting belt mimics the same type of thing with your hands, but instead of your hands being around your rib cage, it's gonna be that belt. Push out against that belt to create that intra-abdominal pressure and brace like you're about to get punched in the stomach, and then perform your lift.
The weight belt is a tool to be used when it's necessary, not to be abused. Don't overuse the belt. So when it comes to the deadlift, looking at Anshul in its entirety, it doesn't look like he's doing anything really bad, but knowing what's going on, if you look at the start, he's driving his knees out into his elbows. That's a no-go. We actually want to make sure our knees are directly over our toes. Go ahead. Boom. Excellent. And then also we want to really make sure we have good hip positioning. So if you notice when Anshul gets to the top, he's really forcing his hips to get into a posterior pelvic tilt so he can squeeze his butt, and then he'll push his hips back to control the deadlift on the way down. So if during deadlifting we notice that our grip strength isn't working out the way we need to, a couple different things we can do. One is we could actually just do a mixed grip. So he's gonna take one of his hands and go palms up, supinated grip, the other hand's palms down, and that's gonna allow the bar to roll into each other from right hand to left hand to right. Another way is we can just grab a pair of straps. And then with the use of straps, you don't have to worry about grip strength anymore. You can just primarily focus on using the hamstrings and glutes. When it comes to the deadlift, having a really good general warm-up leading into a specific warm-up that's gonna help build up your movement patterns is going to help prime your body for this movement pattern. Like we said at the beginning of the video, deadlift is a high risk, high reward. We take out as much risk as possible, ends up only being a high reward exercise.
If you have any other questions about the deadlift or another specific movement pattern that you want us to go over, drop it down in the comments below, and we'll be happy to get that video uploaded for everyone here. So thanks again for tuning in, and we're gonna see you next time.
Peace.